Why is Nigeria so deeply divided between Muslims and Christians? And how has this division created ripples that reach far beyond its borders and into the global stage? Who are the main victims of this 15-year-long, never-ending conflict? And why has Nigeria struggled to protect its own citizens from this ongoing threat? Most importantly, how does the United States plan to respond? Through strategy, support, or even military force, all in the video ahead. Nigeria is divided roughly between Muslims and Christians, primarily along regional lines. The northern part of Nigeria is predominantly Muslim, with approximately 50 to 55% of the population adhering mostly to Sunni Islam, while the southern and southeastern regions are majority Christian, comprising about 45% to 35% of the population. Boko Haram, an Islamist militant group, is primarily based in northeastern Nigeria, specifically in Borno, Yobe, and Adamawa states. This group adhered to ISIS strategy and will eliminate everyone, whether Muslims or Christian, that does not follow their rule of law. Sadly, most of the victims are their fellow Muslims brothers too. Let's look at their bases. Boko Haram's strongholds are mainly found in northeastern Nigeria and the surrounding Lake Chad region, which stretches across the borders of Nigeria, Niger, Chad, and Cameroon. Among the most significant strongholds is the Sambisa forest in Nigeria. This vast remote forest has historically served as Boko Haram's primary headquarters and training ground, providing a concealed base for planning attacks and sheltering fighters. Another critical area is the Lake Chad Islands. These swampy, difficult-to-access islands offer natural cover, making them ideal hideouts for militants. They function as logistics hubs and supply depots, allowing Boko Haram to move men and material across borders with relative ease. Further, the rugged terrain of the Goza Hills along the Nigeria-Cameroon border acts as a strategic fallback zone. Here, Boko Haram maintains camps and lookout posts, using the landscape to evade military operations. Finally, around the town of Bama in Borno State, Boko Haram has established logistical and command centers. This area plays an essential role in coordinating their operations and sustaining the insurgency in the region. But why is the Nigerian government unsuccessful in defeating Boko Haram? They face various problems, from lower budgets, manpower, to geography. The group operates in remote, difficult terrains like forests and swampy Lake Chad Islands, which are hard for the military to access. Nigeria's armed forces often struggle with outdated equipment, poor training, and logistical issues, limiting their effectiveness. Intelligence gathering is difficult because Boko Haram uses guerrilla tactics and small-scale attacks to avoid detection. Additionally, poverty, unemployment, and weak governance in the northeast allow Boko Haram to recruit easily, with some communities mistrusting government forces due to corruption and previous abuses. The group's cross-border operations require regional cooperation, which is often slow and complicated by sovereignty concerns. Human rights concerns and security force abuses have also eroded public trust, making it harder for the government to gain community support. Let's take a closer look at how the U.S. would go about targeting Boko Haram. First, they'd establish naval and air dominance. A naval task force made up of aircraft carriers, destroyers, and amphibious ships would position itself in the Gulf of Guinea. From there, they provide air cover, launch precision strikes, and be ready to quickly deploy troops wherever they're needed. Next comes intelligence gathering. Using satellites, drones like the MQ-9 Reaper, and signal interception, the U.S. would keep constant watch on Boko Haram's movements, strongholds, and communication, giving commanders real-time awareness of the battlefield. They'd also work closely with Nigeria and neighboring countries to coordinate security along borders, share intelligence, and conduct joint operations that make it harder for Boko Haram fighters to slip across borders. The weaponry: cruise missiles like Tomahawks would launch from naval destroyers and submarines to take out key Boko Haram bases and supply depots. At the same time, stealth fighters like the F-35 would carry out airstrikes on command centers, minimizing collateral damage. Special forces would roll out in coordination with Nigerian and regional troops to conduct precision raids, capture or eliminate Boko Haram's leadership, and help train local forces to better fight the insurgency. Finally, disrupting Boko Haram's logistics, especially in challenging terrains like the Lake Chad Islands and Sambisa Forest, would be vital. Cutting off their supply lines and making movement difficult would severely weaken the group. Together, this multi-layered approach combines America's advanced military capabilities with regional partnerships to systematically break down Boko Haram's strength, reduce their recruitment, and help restore stability in the region. For the US to completely dismantle Boko Haram, they would need Marines and boots on the ground. The strategy involves deploying a ship capable of carrying Marines, tanks, and armored vehicles close to the shore using these hovercraft. These hovercraft traverse water, beaches, and difficult terrain, delivering troops where traditional landing craft or aircraft can't go. Marines then secure beachheads and push inland to clear urban areas and complex battlefields, missions impossible without boots on the ground. The strength of amphibious forces lies in their seamless integration of ground troops, tanks, helicopters, and F-35 fighters, working together to suppress enemy resistance and maintain momentum. Hovercraft add tactical flexibility by bypassing coastal barriers and carrying heavy vehicles air transport can't handle, allowing forces to strike where the enemy least expects. Once ashore, amphibious forces conduct sustained operations backed by naval gunfire and air support, stabilizing captured areas and protecting civilians. Their operations follow a disciplined rhythm: planning, embarkation, rehearsal, movement, and swift action, transforming sea power into lasting ground control. While aircraft carriers dominate the skies, amphibious warships bridge the gap from sea to land, turning devastating airstrikes into actual control and enduring influence. Only with this combined capability can true victory and peace be achieved. But the brute force multiplier of these hovercraft, let's take a look at how they change the tide of the battlefield. U.S. Navy hovercraft, specifically the landing craft Air Cushion and its upgraded counterpart, the ship-to-shore connector, revolutionize amphibious warfare with their speed and versatility. These hovercraft can travel at speeds over 40 knots, about 46 miles per hour, far quicker than traditional landing craft, drastically reducing transit time from warship to shore. Their unique air cushion design allows them to glide seamlessly over water, beaches, marshes, ice, and difficult terrain, places where conventional boats cannot operate. This ability opens access to roughly 70 to 80% of the world's shorelines, vastly expanding potential landing zones beyond the limited 17% reachable by older landing craft. Hovercraft can carry a 60 to 75-ton payload, enough for one M1 Abrams tank or multiple armored vehicles and several dozen troops, making them invaluable for rapid deployment of heavy forces ashore. Their capability to bypass natural obstacles like reefs, mines, and mudflats ensures that forces land where enemy defenses are weakest or least expected, enhancing tactical surprise. Thanks to this speed and terrain flexibility, hovercraft enable amphibious forces to launch fast, over-the-horizon assaults, sometimes deploying from 20 to 50 miles or more offshore, significantly increasing ship survivability by operating beyond enemy missile ranges. Operations using hovercraft change the battlefield by allowing swift buildup and sustainment of combat power ashore, combined with naval gunfire and air support, maintaining momentum and overwhelming the enemy before defenses can react. In the age of drone warfare, a giant ship like the Wasp class, a floating airport, faces new vulnerabilities. Even a simple $20,000 Iranian drone has the potential to wreak havoc on its platform. To resist such threats, these ships are armed with multiple defensive layers designed to counter attacks from every angle. At the bow and stern, the RIM 116 rolling airframe missile launchers rise above the starboard side superstructure, offering clear lines of sight and rapid interception capability against incoming missiles. Midway along the ship, on both port and starboard sides, the RIM 7 Sea Sparrow missile launchers work in tandem with their fire control radars to provide broad coverage against aircraft and missile threats. Failing systems protect the superstructure and are found forward and aft of the ship. Some Wasp-class ships feature a third amidships, ensuring that defensive fire overlaps and every sector remains covered. Mark 38 machine guns sit at the edges and corners of the hull, their elevated open-deck mounts giving them a wide field of fire to engage fast boats or drones approaching from any direction. Closest to the weather deck, 50 caliber M2 Browning machine guns are distributed at the bow and amidships on both sides. These are placed so operators can quickly respond to low, close-in threats approaching the waterline, filling the final gap in the ship's comprehensive defensive envelope. If the preceding method proves ineffective against small targets, another close-in weapon system, the CRAM, comes into play. The CRAM integrates the radar and electro-optical system of the Phalanx, but this bad boy alone packs an 11-cell RAM launcher that can be reloaded, thus creating an autonomous system that can engage threats without relying on external information. Within the CRAM is the RIM 116 rolling airframe missile equipped with an infrared homing device. This small, lightweight infrared homing surface-to-air missile is specifically designed for engaging subsonic missile, such as the Soviet-era P-15 re-engineered by Iran.